Hi, prayer partners. Hope you've had a good week and hope things are going good for you. I just want to encourage you today and remind you again of how much the Lord loves you and cares about you and how important this ministry of prayer and talking to God about other folks' problems is. The thing I was reminded of this morning is found in Isaiah chapter 49. Starts off in verse 14. The Lord is talking to the prophet here, and he says, "But Zion has said, the Lord has forsaken me, and my Lord has forgotten me." You ever feel like God's forgotten you? Or maybe not forgotten you, but just not paying much attention to you, or he's not helping you or dealing with you the way you want to be dealt with. Well, I've got news for you. You're not the first one to feel that way. And the Father here says uh, in verse 15, "Can a woman forget her nursing child and not have compassion on the son of her womb? Surely they may forget, yet I will not forget you." And then verse 16 he says, "See, I have inscribed you on the palms of my hands, and your walls are continually before me." The reason that verse is so special to me is because over the years, working as a mechanic and helping folks with handyman jobs around houses and lawnmowers and all that kind of stuff, I have cut my hands so many times. A wrench slipped, a screwdriver poked, some sharp piece of metal. Um, I've burnt them I don't know how many times on hot exhaust systems, those kind of things. And they leave scars. And I've got a whole bunch of scars on my hands and arms. And as I look down on them, it's hard for me to forget what I was doing when I got that scar. And several years ago, I began using those scars as a reminder to pray for people. When I look down and I see this scar right here on my hand, I'm reminded of Carrie and Ivan Peterson. I burnt my hand working on their car. And this one over here is Jenny Anderson. And this cut down here is Bob Collins. And this one over here is Dan Grosskopf. And this one right over here is Eli Taylor. And I've got those scars all over me. And just looking at that scar, I can remember what I was doing when I was working on their car and how I injured that. And one day it occurred to me, just as those scars are a reminder to me of how I got that scar, when Jesus looks at his hands, the Bible says that he ever lives to make intercession for you and for me. He's seated at the right hand of the Father, praying for you and for me. And if you know anything about Jewish priests, when they pray, they raise their hands. And there are those scars on Jesus' hands to remind him. That scar right there, that's Ron Mills' sin that caused that. The scar over here, that paid for the price of someone else's sin. And the scars, it says there in Isaiah 49:16 that he has inscribed us on the palms of his hands. He can't forget us. Those scars are there forever. I know you've heard that before, and it's almost cliche, but it's so true. Jesus is the only one in heaven who won't have a perfect body. He's the only one that will carry scars in heaven. When I get my resurrected body, all these scars that I've accumulated over my life are going to be gone. But Jesus is going to have those nail prints in his hands, his feet, for all eternity. He's inscribed us, literally engraved us on his hands. Our sin was what caused those nails, and it was because of his love. It was because of his care. It's because of how much he longs to have a relationship with you. And there are those times like Israel when we say, the Lord's forsaken me, he's forgotten me. Oh, no, he hasn't. And he reminds us there. He has us engraved on the palms of his hands. Those nail prints are there forever to remind him. He doesn't need reminded. Those nail prints are there to prove to you and to me of how much he loves us. I think about Thomas. the rest of the disciples. Jesus had appeared to them, and Thomas wasn't with them at that particular time. And they tell Thomas later, "We've seen the Lord." And Thomas said, "Until I put my finger in the nail prints of his hands and my hand in the wound of his side, I'll not believe." And then the Lord appeared to Thomas and held out his hands, and he said, "There you go, Thomas. Put your finger in the print. I've paid the price for you." So this week, if you're going through tough times, things are difficult, not going the way you'd like for them to go, maybe there's something happening in your life you don't understand, you can't explain, and you're just scratching your head thinking, "Lord, why?" He's not forgotten you. He will never forsake you or leave you. And he has those scars to prove to you he loves you. He has a plan. He's on the throne. He knows what he's doing. He cares. He will never forsake you. He will never forget you. And he will never leave you. Hope you have a great, great week. God bless you. And thank you so much for your prayers. Bye-bye.